What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and we have a brand new clan in Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. It is the ALMAT clan, and this is an Egyptian themed clan with really cool art, at least in my opinion, and for the first time that I can remember, the male and the female actually have their own unique names. We've got Anubis and Amunet, so let's dive in. But first, download Bloodline Heroes of Lithis, a mobile RPG action fighting game where you can marry your champions to create new and unique hybrids. Use the link in the description to start with some free stuff, including gold and diamonds. See you hopefully soon. Before we talk about the heroes, I do have a code for you. Click on your settings, then click on redemption code, and in the box you're going to type BLD Halloween. And once you've done that, spelled exactly that way, click redeem and get your prizes. All right, I don't know how you feel, but I'm just really liking how these look. In fact, as they come out with more and more new heroes, I just love the creativity behind them and the diversity of characters that we're starting to get, which is awesome. Let's take a look at the trait first for the clan, and this one is called Soul Annihilation. I think that's appropriate for this particular clan. And it says that it increases the caster's damage dealt by some percent. Of course, this is an epic hero, so that's 7.7%, but that'll go up to, it looks like probably 15% at level 22. And it does that for 2 seconds when taking ultimate attack damage. Stacks up to 2 layers. So that's kind of an interesting clan trait, and I think actually it goes really well with what both the male and the female do, Anubis and Anuet. So I think it fits well with them. Is it worth getting the clan trait to put on others? I'm a little hesitant to say that yet, but I see some potential for that. If down the road there's any heroes that do a significant amount of damage and you want to top it off, you could potentially put something like this on a hero like that. So let's go check out the champions in the renowned champions section here, because I want to see what their max abilities look like when we review them. And look at this bug. Do you see, this is the ALMAT clan, but do you see what art's showing up? Anyway, I'll go ahead and click on it. It should fix itself. There we go. All right, I usually like to start with the passive skill when looking over heroes because that's the first thing that impacts the board. Before we look at that, just take note, this is a warrior. Warriors have kind of been passed by in this game. There just haven't been any that have been super useful, and so a lot of people haven't really gone into their Guardian Stone here like me and done anything with the warriors. I have stuff on pretty much every other type of clan except warriors, so I mean that is something to consider with these, is until they start pumping out some really good warriors, it's going to be hard for them to just slot in on some top teams. Although I think the last couple warriors we've gotten are really starting to show some potential. If these can add to that, then we may want to consider going into the Guardian Stone and just reshuffling things around to start empowering some of the warriors, especially if there's some good synergies. All right, let's take a look at that passive. Anubis Gaze. Upgrades with a max of 2 times whenever a caster deals accumulated damage equal to 30% of their max constitution. Before upgrading, the caster's normal attacks can deal damage, I should say additional damage to the target equal to 20%. Remember, that's maxed out if you level the skills up. 20% of the target's lost constitution capped at 1,000% of the champion's strength. With 1 upgrade, normal attacks can deal damage to all enemies within a fan-shaped area in front of the caster. With 2 upgrades, normal attacks will mark the target for 4 seconds. If the marked target is killed during that period, the caster becomes invincible for 2 seconds. So I think that's actually a really cool passive, and it does a lot. And actually, it's really incentivizing you to go PvE just with the passive. Let's take a look at what the other abilities say. Judgment Call. Side sweeps nearby enemies, dealing damage equal to 480% of the caster's strength. So we want to put Brutal on this champion probably. In the next 5 seconds, affected targets will take damage from Eye of Horus whenever they take normal attack damage from all allied champions. Now, I think a lot of people are like, what the heck is the Eye of Horus? I think that's simply the decoration above his head. At least if you understand just kind of like Egyptian history, culture, that Eye of Anubis is important. It's in the art of all the if you look back on ancient Egyptian art, you can see whenever they depict Anubis, he's got that eye above him. And so just over time, through culture, and as that type of thing has been integrated into both board games and mobile gaming and video gaming, the eye has been seen as something very powerful, known for annihilation, basically. So that's what they're talking about. My guess is this has more to do with the animation. So the Eye of Horus above his head is probably going to be doing some kind of animation that's dealing that extra damage. So anyway, that's what I think. Soul Frenzy is the ultimate. Enters a Burning Soul status for 6 seconds, increasing the caster and nearby allies' attack speed and damage by 50% and 30% respectively. I feel like that has a lot of potential for some good team synergy. Again, PvE especially, where you're really trying to put a team together that's doing a lot of damage to big bosses. During this period, if a target marked by the passive skill is killed, the caster becomes invincible when the status expires. Invincibility duration does not stack. All damage taken while the Burning Soul is active will be uniformly settled when the status expires, and settled damage will not kill the caster. Okay, so we've seen invincibility twice with this guy so far, and that sounds really exciting, but I don't think the invincibility, I don't think it lasts long enough to really matter. So I don't have strong feelings about invincibility, although you would think that should be something that's strong. But I do like some of the other stuff I'm seeing here, especially for PvE. Once in a while, we see one of these heroes come along that's just really good against the bosses, and I certainly think he has potential against the bosses. But I think he also has potential in PvP. I don't know if he's going to be able to deal enough damage in PvP. I think he could be one of many pieces that could be a good synergistic piece in PvP if you're careful about who you pair him with. But I do like that increase in both attack speed and damage. Just remember that there is a soft cap on attack speed. So if you already have the stone thrower trait that is giving everybody increased attack speed, or you have agile or something like that, and then this goes off, and especially if you have female lionstone, there's a point at which you're just doing too much speed and taking away the ability for other specials to be part of what the team is doing. So, you know, I would think this guy probably goes on a team that doesn't have a lot of that other team speed increase stuff happening, because you need to have a balance with how much of that you have, saving some of the other abilities and skills that you have for things like damage and control and all of that stuff. So I think that he's good. I think he has potential, and I think he's mostly useful for bosses. So if you're somebody who's like, I really need a hero to take down big bosses, that's what I'm missing, I think he has potential and could be worth getting and leveling just for that. And he would also be useful in PvP, although I don't think we're looking at a hero here who's going to be just like an overwhelming, like, you got to put him on the first team. I don't think that's the case, but I think he could have potential on a second or third team in a lot of cases. Let's take a look at the female. So, did you see that again? That's the bug. Now we got the crooked fin animations on them. So anyway, that's something they got to work out. All right, let's look at the passive, Soul Siphon. Each normal attack deals additional damage. I keep missing the additional part. Each normal attack deals additional damage equal to 16% of the target's max health, capped at 1500% of the caster's strength, and restores the caster's constitution by 80% of additional damage dealt. So this is incentivizing us to also put brutal on, because even though it's not necessarily the brutal that's dealing the damage, The damage you deal is capped at your strength, so you really need to have that strength as high as you can get it. Okay, and restores the caster's constitution by 80% of additional damage dealt. So not only dealing potentially massive damage, but also this healing effect that's occurring here. This is so much damage on a normal attack. This is an amazing passive. In fact, this may be one of the best passives in the game, and I haven't even read the second part of it. Increases normal attack speed by 100% if the target's current energy is lower than the caster's. So I am loving everything I'm seeing here. This is the building block of a really excellent passive. And if the other skills are even halfway decent, this could be a potentially very powerful character. I can't express to you just how much damage 16% of a target's max health is when we're talking normal attacks. That's unbelievable. Again, another really excellent hero for PvE, but man, just as good for PvP potentially. And when she's behind on energy, she's going to speed up. I think that that's really cool and potentially sets the ultimate off faster. I mean, it's a catch-up mechanic when a hero like this doesn't necessarily need to catch up because it's already pretty powerful. Withering Ray fires 2 successive death rays to attack enemies in the front. Oh my gosh. Now, see, I think that's coming from this one's Eye of Horus, if you will. So the first death ray deals damage equal to 200% of the caster's strength, inflicts stunned for a second. I like to see that crowd control, and removes 120 energy from the targets. So stunning and removing energy, that could be really good. The second death ray deals damage equal to 250% of the caster's strength, and inflicts stun for 1 second, removes 120 energy from the targets, and reduces their damage dealt by 25% for 4 seconds with a cooldown of 7 seconds. That's a lot happening on the active skill too. Let's take a look at the ultimate. Defiled grants a Gravekeeper effect to all allied champions, which lasts 7 seconds. During this period, all allied champion skills which eliminates the enemy's energy are intensified by 8%. So what does this mean? This means if you have like a female Gultung or a male Yevnian, there's a few other more recent heroes as well that are going to reduce energy. If you've got champions that do that, they're going to do it even more. So this is begging you to create a team synergy that reduces energy. I think the potential for that really, really exists and actually could bring back some heroes we have long forgotten about because of this particular skill. However, I will say, just based on that alone, that's not currently the type of meta team that is at the top of the charts. So this would be some kind of second or third team that you're looking to create a synergy out of this. Either you're going to need to figure out how to slot her into a top team meta strategy that's not this energy drain strategy, because she's certainly got lots of other great skills, or you're going to have to build a synergy around that particular skill. Additionally, once per second during this period, if an allied champion takes an enemy champion's ultimate attack, then the attacker will be inflicted with a layer of the effect that reduces their damage dealt by 60% for 2 seconds, stacking up to 10 layers. I think this particular part of the skill is built to break male water and sun, right? Because he is doing so much ultimate damage, like the waves that are just coming like that. It's very likely he's going to be the one that gets hit with this, and it stacks up to 10 layers. Now, I don't think that the percent is what stacks. I think it is the seconds that stack, so it's just like it'll keep going and going and going, and reducing the amount of damage being done. Gravekeeper effect cannot be removed, but the damage reduction effect can be removed. So this is a really interesting champion, and quite honestly, I think the female has more potential than the male, only because they both seem like they can do really well in PvE, and while he can work in PvP, I think she's going to be both excellent for PvE and PvP. So against the bosses and against other players' teams in like guild conquests and Valley of Conquerors and Sails and Sabers and stuff like that. The arena. Um, I think there's a lot of potential if used correctly for her to negate a lot of what Male Water and Sun's doing, so he's not doing so much damage. And she might just make him regular. I think it's worth seeing how she does against him. Although I'm gonna say right now, uh, I'm I'm not certain how well she fits into the top meta team. So she might be her own kind of piece. In which case she'd have to be more of a support hero in basically just trying to stop Male Water and Sun. But I think that careful tweaking of your own champions and teams could maximize the ability to use her skills in a controlling type of way as well. I just think she's going to feel kind of like randomly placed right now in those teams, and that's okay. That's okay. If she really does have an effect on Male Water and Sun, it might be worth it. Are either of these screaming top tier, S tier heroes? Absolutely not. I don't think so. But I think that Bloodline's been getting very good ever since they released Male Water and Sun at releasing heroes that are very good at doing something and not being just overwhelmingly owning the battlefield. And so now you got to be careful about who you're putting together, making good choices. Hopefully they can figure out how to put heroes out there that are creating a diversified meta, because right now it's all Male Water and Sun and his supporting heroes. And if they can do that, I think these can slot in very well in a meta like that. So that's what I'm looking for. As far as traits that go on them, I think you want them to go off fast. So ambitious. I think you especially want to try and get her to go off before the Male Water and Sun on the other side of the battlefield, potentially. So ambitious, focused, get them up to speed fast. I think we're really going to need to protect them since they're warriors. They attract a lot of damage. So honorable. And then clearly they both need brutal because of the max strength cap. So that's probably what I would go with. That's what I recommend you go with. Of course, it's if you go after the heroes, it's yours to decide what you want to do. I would love to know what traits you're considering putting on them. You can let me know in the comments. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, and I will catch you in the next one.